Hello everybody, this is Ryan, and I'm here to make a video for week 4. The first video we're going to talk about is going to be one on solving linear inequalities. So let's take a look at that. So here is your presentation. So the nice thing about solving linear inequalities is they're very similar to solving equations. The same rules apply. There's just one exception, and that's when you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip the inequality symbol around. So if it starts out as a greater than or equal to, when you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip it to a less than or equal to. That's what it says right here. If you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, change the direction of the inequality symbol. That's key right there. That's the big piece that you got to make sure that you cover. That you have to make sure that you change that symbol, or that inequality sign, to be the opposite of what it was. That's key. So here's an example. So look at an example right here. So here's an example. Notice how it looks very similar to an equation, except for it has a less than or equal to symbol. Same thing goes. The first thing you do is you distribute the -2, just like you would. Just like that. That's going to give you 4 minus 6x plus 2 is less than 9. You're going to collect like terms. The 4 and the positive 2 make 6. Subtract 6 on both sides, which eventually ends up giving you x is greater than or equal to -1/2. Now to graph that, the graph looks like this, and notice how you're going to use brackets. Use brackets this way or brackets this way if you have a greater than or equal to. If you just have a less than or a greater than, you use parentheses. Brackets are for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So here's the graph. Notice the bracket, and this graph is greater than or equal to -1/2. So that's the graph. Here's interval notation. Here's another example. This is called a compound inequality. And you solve it the same way, except for this time you have something on the left, something in the middle, and something on the right. So if you're going to solve this inequality, you have to add, in this case, you add 1 to all 3 parts. Add 1 here, add 1 here, add 1 here. So that's 4, 6. This time you multiply by the reciprocal, 3/4 by every single term. So your answer is going to be 16/3 is less than x is less than or equal to 8. So here's your answers. Now to graph that, notice how it's greater than, it says x is greater than 16/3. So that's a parenthesis. Greater than, it says, and x is less than or equal to 8. That's going to be a bracket. So your answer is going to be in the middle. And here's interval notation. So this is your first video on graphing and solving linear inequalities.